Tisha B'Av, or the 9th of Av, starts on Monday evening. And it's one of a number of fast days in Judaism, and it's often known as the Black Fast. It is a day on which we remember a huge number of terrible events that have happened to the Jewish people, particularly on that day, from the destruction of the temples to the start of the First Crusade, to even the clearing of the Warsaw Ghetto, and many other things. I do remember a teacher many years ago as I was learning how to teach religious school, and they were teaching a group of us, and they brought in loads of Lego and invited us to build our own temple without saying why. Build a replica of the temple. And so we spent a good hour working on this replica of the temple. And then some of us realized just in time, and others did not, what was about to happen. And the teacher came and flattened the entire model. And some of the class, which were all adults, were absolutely outraged. How could you do such a thing? We just spent all our time on this and so on. And others of us realized what was coming and sort of sat back with sad resignation as we knew of the destruction to come. And that actually was a really important lesson about Tisha B'Av, particularly about the destruction of the temple. Because it can be quite hard, particularly for Reform Jews, to really emotionally connect with the destruction of the temples, or destructions that have happened in the past. So I find it particularly interesting that this Tisha B'Av is the first one since that horrifying terror attack on October the 7th. And it gives us an opportunity to reflect on destruction, on pain, on loss. Even though that didn't happen on Tisha B'Av, it is still a terrible, terrible event in modern Jewish history. And we can use the emotions that connect to that terror event to really connect with all these other terrible events that have happened to our community in the past. Sometimes we gather together on Tisha B'Av as a community. We read kinot, we read these elegies, these very powerful chutzpahdik pieces of liturgy that challenge God. This year, instead of gathering together for the reading of the kinot, we're going to send them out to you. And so on Monday, we're actually going to send out these kinot for you to read in your own time. And there are a number of customs for Tisha B'Av. For Monday evening and for Tuesday, it is traditionally a fast, as I said, for those who are able. There's often a meal beforehand, which interestingly often consists of round foods like eggs or lentils, almost as a symbol of this mourning, the cycle of life and death that we experience in Judaism. Some people even take eggs and put ashes on them to mark that destruction of the temple and other things. People traditionally sit on the floor on Tisha B'Av instead of on chairs. Grace after meals isn't recited joyfully out loud, it's recited individually or even silently, essentially. And there are other prohibitions as well. Traditionally, people don't wear leather, don't engage in relations, don't wash body, just like on Yom Kippur as well. Visiting cemeteries is actually encouraged on Tisha B'Av as a way to remember loss and mourning. And interestingly, we tend not to study the Bible on Tisha B'Av. We tend not to study rabbinic texts. Instead, we tend to focus on one book in particular, the Book of Lamentations, which laments the destruction of the first temple. So we will be sending out these kinot, these elegies, as a way of helping you at home connect with Tisha B'Av on a different level, on your own unique personal level. Before that, though, we have the joy of Shabbat. And I'm back from vacation. I'll be helping to lead this evening's service and tomorrow morning's study session and service as well. So we do encourage you to join us for that joy, which for me especially, coming back to Santa Fe, being away just for a week and a half or so, actually really profoundly missing not just New Mexico and Santa Fe itself, but actually really profoundly missing our community. So I do encourage you to join us for our service this evening, for Torah study tomorrow, and for our service tomorrow as well. And then do look out for these keynote, these elegies, these really powerful, challenging readings, which we'll send out on Monday as well. I hope to see you over Shabbat, and I wish you Shabbat Shalom.